Investment Committee meeting. Hope everybody got a chance to review the minutes that were emailed to you some time back, and if so, we'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Allen.
Second.
Mr. Jernigan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Investment report. Mr. Beatty, welcome.
Good evening. We did not have any bids this past month. Our LGIP rate has moved up to 0.18, which is almost twice where we were a few months ago, as sad as that is, but it's moving up. And rumor has it the Fed has an important meeting this next week. And if you haven't kept up with that, the Fed maybe will raise rates on the short term, which really impact us a great deal. So we probably will bid some money after that event one way or another. We've got some interest in that, and it's tax collection time for folks watching. End of February is ours, the 29th. City of Murfreesboro is the end of December, but 15 taxes are due and payable.
And what's the process folks go through if they want to have their taxes frozen?
We've got the tax freeze program are for our seniors 65 and older, live in their home. Income limit 2014 income for the applicant, their spouse, and all owners of the property, $40,810. If they'll call our office at 615-898-7705, we'll be glad to tell them what information they need to bring. It's best if they'll set up an appointment, that way there's not a lot of waiting, and we'll be glad to fill out all the paperwork for them. And we have till April, 1st of April next year to get that done. Don't wait, but you haven't missed it. If they've already paid this year and think they qualify, they can still call us. We can get that done. We also have the tax relief programs, and that's for those 65 or older, totally disabled homeowners through Social Security, and total and permanent disabled through the Veterans Administration. And if they think they fall into that, they can certainly give us a call, and we'll be glad to help them with those qualifications.
And that would be for taxes for next year?
Will it be for 2015
It would be.
taxes?
Okay.
Yes. So we're right in the midst of that season. So if you think you qualify, and remember, for those folks who are on those programs, they require an annual requalification. So if you came in last year, remember you got to come back in, and we'll resubmit this year.
So if somebody's already paid this year's taxes and they qualify for the program, they can get a rebate back?
They can, yes.
Yeah, okay.
That's on the relief program.
relief side.
The freeze just keeps it from going up. The relief programs actually rebate part of the taxes.
Any further questions of Mr. Beatty?
Just have one more. Tell me one more time everything that goes into that $40,810.
That would be all sources of income. That would be VA benefits, Social Security, even the part that's not taxable. However, we are able to deduct Medicare payments, so we count the net check that you get on Social Security. Retirement, interest, pensions, IRA distributions. Don't count money in the bank, but if you take an IRA distribution, you have to take those are counted as part of their income.
That's not only everybody that lives in the house, but everybody that has ownership in the house.
Ownership of the house, that is correct.
Right.
If they own part of the house, even if they don't live there, we count income, but if they don't have ownership, we don't count it except for a spouse.
And are those numbers the same for the city and the county, or?
Yes, that is the city of Murfreesboro and the town of Smyrna now have the freeze. The income limit is the same. That's countywide. All those applications are done at the trustee's office. The income limits vary on the other programs. They're the same across, but they're depending on which category you're in. We'll be glad to talk to them. But kind of that 40,810 gives you a pretty good, unless you were to be a disabled veteran, and that's a $60,000 for new applicants. No income limit on existing applicants for veterans.
If you have an applicant who's in poor health, can they designate someone to come, or does the applicant actually have to be here?
They can, their power of attorney can do it, or if they don't have a power of attorney, somebody can bring us information, take it, get it signed, and bring it back to us. They do not physically have to be there. But they do have to live in the residence. It has to be their residence. They have to live there, not just ownership property. And they can only get it in one jurisdiction, whether that be in the state of Tennessee, or if you have a home in Florida, which we see quite a bit, and you've got an exemption in Florida, you can't qualify both areas.
Any other questions of Mr. Beatty? And if not, we'll entertain a motion to approve the report.
Motion to approve the report.
Commissioner T, I believe, Commissioner Allen. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Moving right along. Ms. Nolan, our fund condition report.
Okay, we'll start with the development tax. In November, we received $597,750 in development tax. Included in that was 240 apartments in Murfreesboro. That brings our total to $2,815,500, which meets our budget estimate for the entire year. So anything after this helps our reserve and for capital and the general fund. Of course, the other half helps our development tax. Debt service, thank you. Debt service. Cash balances at the end of November totaled $177,509,000, with $144,822,000 being operating funds, $32,687,000 being borrowed funds. Have any questions on that one? I'll move on to revenue. Mostly good news. Well, I have all good news. The revenues, as far as what we've projected compared to the prior 5 months at this point, we are ahead of where we are on the 5 prior. Let's see, I think, except for the drug control fund, and that's primarily because they have not had, typically in all the other years there was monies for forfeitures. Or we sold confiscated property. That typically has, in the last 5 years, been done at the first part of the year, and they've not done that. So that's what's causing them to be behind. But all else, as you can see, our revenue in total exceeds where we were at the last 5 years. So that's good news.
And how much is our sales tax
Sales
up
tax
this year
is
compared to
up.
last year?
Sales tax is up, and I've got 3 months, but it's really 4 months reporting for the county overall, which this number affects the schools. Sales tax is up 8.4% over the prior year. That's in total. As far as the county, we're up 45.8%. That affects general fund, solid waste, and roads.
Any further questions of Ms. Nolan?
Motion to approve the report.
Thank you, Commissioner T.
Second.
Mr. Kaplan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Risk management, my tongue tied, risk management financial report. Ms. Street, welcome.
Okay, starting with Fund 264, we'll look at the month of November. Our per employee per month increased to $1,176 compared to prior year, same time, of $810 for a year-to-date average of $973 compared to prior year of $878. Combining our on-site medical clinics, you'll notice that in the month of November, we had a spike in office visits, and that's directly related to the biometric screenings. Including this information, our per employee per month increases to $1,215 compared to prior year of $849, with a year-to-date average of $1,015 compared to prior year of $910. In Fund 266, ending at the month of November, we are at $272,955 compared to prior year of $313,131.
Any questions of Ms. Street?
Motion to approve the report.
Thank you, Commissioner T.
Second.
Commissioner Allen. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Have a Merry Christmas.
You too.
We've got a few items on the agenda that there's no staff here for, and since we have got a group here to make a presentation on the Judicial Center, we're going to work our way over the ones that nobody's here to represent besides just the ones of us at the table. So we're gonna skip items 5, 6, and 7 and come back to those. I believe that's correct, it's not Mrs. Nolan. And we're gonna go on to the drug fund budget amendment. And we may have just caught the sheriff off guard, but,
Sorry, talk to Melissa.
well, we skipped over a few, so we didn't give you a warning about that.
Okay. For tonight, we have a drug fund budget amendment. We want to reduce the balance in the restricted for public safety of $70,000, or by $70,000. The request has been put in to add $10,000 on the expense line item to maintenance and repair vehicles of $10,000, law enforcement equipment of $20,000, and $40,000 for motor vehicles. This one doesn't work like mine.
What's the 20,000 in equipment for?
That's undercover narcotics equipment that we do not want everybody to know about.
Okay.
I can tell you, but that.
Well, actually, I can tell you what that is.
Go ahead.
It's $20,000 is we're taking out of the drug fund to pay for camera systems that go in our patrol cars to fix some of the interstate units and some others that are on an old system that server and all that has played out, and we don't have it in our regular budget. So instead of coming and asking for it out of undesignated, we're taking it out of the drug fund to buy that cameras for those new cars, for those cars.
How many cars will that equip?
5.
And the money for motor vehicles is for repairs, not new vehicles?
No, the motor vehicles is $40,000 is to purchase a vehicle.
Purchase a vehicle
And then
for
the M&R vehicles is for the maintenance and repair.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Narcotics is moving some of their money around to purchase another vehicle.
Any further questions?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Fee.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Baum. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
Commissioner Baum?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yes.
Commissioner Kaplan?
Yes.
Commissioner Fee?
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan?
Yes.
I have one quick item to add. Back in September, at the September 28th Public Safety meeting, the letter in front of you was approved through the committee for donation of items to the sheriff's office, and it was approved unanimously. Here it is. The committee was provided a list of donated items from various sources and advised the same needed to be approved, and this motion passed unanimously by acclamation. This was through the Public Safety. This now needs to be brought in front of the Budget and Finance Committee to be approved as well.
To go on to the full commission.
And we're just approving the acceptance of the equipment.
Yes, acceptance of the equipment that was donated to the sheriff's office.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Kaplan.
Second.
Commissioner Baum. Personally, I would think we would appreciate most anything of value that somebody would give, as long as it's not used tires or something like that. Any further discussion?
It depends, we might take the used tires.
How it usually are.
It would be days, right?
Call the roll.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
Commissioner Baum?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yes.
Commissioner Kaplan?
Yes.
Commissioner Fee?
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan?
Yes.
Take that from me. Thank you.
I have 2 other quick things. Shop with the Sheriff, again, we just did this last week, was a success. We raised over $7,000. We will be taking those kids shopping this Saturday morning. If y'all would like to wake up and come on down to the Sheriff's office and be there by 6 a.m. We will be leaving the Sheriff's office by 6:30 to go over to Farmers. They're giving us a discount to feed these children, and we will then leave Farmers. We will take them to Target for shopping. We'll spend probably about $7,000. We raised almost the exact amount that we needed for this event. We've got a little extra money in that account, but we will be taking 35 kids, providing them with Christmas this year. The kids are picked by the school system. They are not picked by us. But we will be taking them, and it's a great event. Hopefully we will be videoing it and you can see it again online. But I just wanted to let y'all know about that. The other is Keith Lowry. If you will come on up to the next contestant. I just wanted to introduce him to the committee. He is the new deputy chief, third in command of the sheriff's office. Just wanted to introduce him to y'all, and real quick, just want to say hi.
Yeah, Keith, I've been in law enforcement for many years, so hopefully I know a few of you. I've been very flattered to have this position. I hope to help the agency as a whole to move forward. We're going to be progressive. We're going to start moving a lot of things and getting a lot of projects taken care of as we can, with the blessing of this commission, obviously, and others. Again, we're going to do some team building and some growth. So that's what we're going to try to do. Again, wasn't prepared for him to have me up here tonight.
So, well, I realize I've got several other Christmas events to go to tonight, but then Keith was going to come up here and sit in for us, but I had never formally introduced him, so I figured that I needed to formally introduce him to y'all. So,
Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
He's going to be a big asset. He knows tons about IT, radios, communication, and law enforcement. So he's a huge asset for this county. He worked here once before and then left and became the assistant chief for the city of Laverne, and decided to come back. I asked him to come back and help me. So I know he'll be a tremendous asset for this county. So other than that, Merry Christmas, and we'll see you hopefully next year. So,
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Merry Christmas to you guys. Chief Farley, general fund budget for transfer for fire and rescue. Welcome.
Thank you. I wanted to move $4,000 out of vehicle maintenance repair and $4,000 out of administrative equipment, which is what we use to purchase our personal protective equipment, and move those two items into maintenance and repair buildings. We had a major water leak out at the station. Had to call, Mr. Mankin called in a leak protection company to find out where it was at. Thank goodness it was out in the parking lot. We had to cut the concrete and replace the water line from the main to the building, and according to CUD, we were losing 17,000 gallons a month for 11 months at 187,000 gallons for 11 months. So it was, I was getting that phone call every month from them. But so, and that is to repair the water line and hopefully replace the concrete.
Now, where was this leak at?
At our station one on Barfield.
Between the station building and the road.
Between the
The
meter.
building we just built in the last few years.
Yeah.
And we already had to replace the water line?
Yeah, I think what happened is when they dug the ditch to lay the water line in, it should have been surrounded by gravel, and I think they just,
Or rocked against it somewhere?
yeah.
Is there anybody, whoever put that in, we might could reach out to and ask for damages or something like that? I mean, I don't know, I'm just.
It's far beyond the warranty period.
I think we've been in since 2012.
Doesn't seem like that long ago.
Time's flying.
Yeah. Any further questions of the chief?
I'll make a motion to repair. I want to say thank you for digging this out of your budget.
We do what we can.
You didn't talk about the water bill yet.
Well, it's paid.
I'll
Yeah.
second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Fee, second Commissioner Allen. Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
Commissioner Bond?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yes.
Commissioner Kaplan?
Yes.
Commissioner Peak?
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan?
Yes. Thank you, Chief. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, y'all.
We're going to skip over number 11 and go on to funding for construction of judicial center and parking garage. And Mr. Mayor, I believe you've got some representatives here that have
Okay,
a
so
presentation.
we'd like to ask three people to come up here and join us, and first will be Mr. Jerry Preston. He's the owner's representative, so he's sort of an extension of Rutherford County, you might say, with respect to all of this particular project. He's with Pinnacle Construction Partners, And then we have Mr. Steve Johnson, who's the vice president with Grisham and Smith Architects. And John Thayer is our project manager representing Bell Construction. These three gentlemen, along with others, are part of a really super group of professionals that the PBA has put together over the course of all this process. So a lot has happened, and some of you predate me, and I'm sure Mr. P knows that this discussion's been going on since maybe a little before 2000, I'm not quite sure. But anyway, we started and we had the use of a consulting firm called Justice Planning Associates, and they have updated. They did a review and described and defined what needed to go in there, how much it would, space did we need, how much would it cost. They updated that in 2013 and 14, and then you, the commission, gave over $5 million with an agreement that we have with the PBA that they would enter into the process of designing and developing and getting us ready to go into the full construction of this project. We're at that point, and it's been a remarkable journey. I think we've had, the outcome of this is just really pretty amazing, and Mr. Baum has heard this repeatedly, some of these discussions through property management. But we've had this is an extraordinarily complex project, as you all know. And there's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of vested, interested parties. All of these people have been involved with our property management team and with all of the users, the judges, the DA, the public defender, our clerks, and we've had a design review committee. We've iterated and iterated multiple times, and quite honestly, it's a little remarkable that we've got a pretty much uniform consensus among all these groups about what we're doing, how we're doing it, what it looks like, and how it's going to be used and structured. So we're going to let them give you a brief, a little overview here to bring you current on how this discovery has taken place, and let you know what's happened, how we did it, and what we're going to do, and where we are at this point, and what the future needs are as far as the decision-making process. Just cutting all the way to the bottom line, we're ready, hopefully, to get approval to fund this construction of this project. I think we're in a strategically well-placed position. What our programming consultant firm told us how big it should be, 200,000 square feet, how much it should cost, $72 to $73 million. We're still within those constraints and those definitions that were made in the beginning, back 2013 and 14. So we've delivered a project this team has that's ready, I think, and ripe for completion. So we're just hoping that we can get some direction there and get that decision made so that we can continue and not lose the momentum that we currently have. So Mr. Preston, I've advised him to, I've been told that briefer is more. So we'll see how this turns out.
Okay.
They're available to answer any questions you want to ask, so don't, but we're here just to try to inform completely.
All right, well, thank you, Mr. Mayor and Mr. Chairman and committee members, and I will try to be brief. We are recommending, the design and construction team's recommending that we proceed with the funding of the $68 million that's required to complete the funding for the Judicial Center project. And of course, that's the building, about 200,000 square feet, and that's the garage, about 359 parking spaces. So we are recommending approval and proceeding with that. We are at the end of design development, and we have just completed the pricing package for the design development. And I'll back up just a little bit, and the mayor's done a good job of giving you sort of some of the history and so forth. But the design and construction team was put together late last year, and we started schematic design really the first part of this year. And we did start with the program that was done by Justice Planning Associates, and they did an excellent job of, and they are experts in the field of, of courthouses and programming that type of facility. And so all through until June of this year, we were in schematic design. And of course, that's taking the program and turning it into graphics and all the layouts and so forth. And during that time, we did meet a number of times with the Design Review Committee, also the PBA, and the user groups. And as the mayor says, we have consensus and approval of the floor plans and also the exterior design of the building. We went through an aggressive pricing process back in the middle of the summer and got the project in budget, and at that point got approval from the PBA to proceed to design development. And that's the phase that we're completing right now in the pricing package that we have just put together. Now the design development package or phase takes the design and really details it out, so the design is complete. So the next step will be really just producing the construction drawings so that Bell can go and build the building. But we are at a point where there is enough detail and the design is totally complete that we can do a detailed pricing of the building, which we have done. And so we feel comfortable, even though we've taken a conservative approach, and I'll mention when we go through the budget, we'll talk a little bit about that. But we have taken a conservative approach to make sure that we can protect the project on bid day, and that we can contract it and we can be in the money. So we have done that. So as I said, we will be winding up really the sort of the details of design development for the rest of this month. But we feel really comfortable really with proceeding with the $68 million. I'll go through the listing that you have there on your screen real quickly, and then we'll move to the budget. But the next item that we're coordinating with is the Lytle Street project coordination, and I won't go through all those items, but that'll give you a kind of an overview of what that project's about. And it is really redoing Lytle Street from Barker to Church, and they're really going to start it at Church at the end of our project, where our project is, and really move to Barker. And that's about a 24-month project. But we may have some responsibility with some cost in that. Right now, we've costed it from what we call back of curb. So they will be building the road and the curb, and our project takes off really from the curb in. So we're coordinating with that particular project. Item 3 there is the demolition contract, and we have completed that, and I'm sure you've driven probably by the site and seen that we have cleared the site and fenced the site. We are under budget on that particular step of the project of about 10%. We're also, item number 4, we're in the rezoning process, and tonight is the third reading by the council, the city council, for zoning the property. And so we will have the approval for rezoning the property after tonight, as it seems. Actually, it is tonight, and I should have corrected that, and said that I corrected that. But we thought that the projected time was going to be the 17th, but that has been moved up a week, and so it is tonight. So that is a correction on your date there. And then on our future key events, as I said, zoning approval, I still have the 17th. That will actually happen tonight. And then on again, winding up this month, the design development package, and then the funding cycle that we're in now, of course, starting here in December. And hopefully we'll have the funding in place on or before the January 18th date. And the reason for that is we want to issue a early release package on the project, and that'll be the first main construction package that we'll release. And there you can see that we'll be doing excavations and foundations, underground utilities, ground slabs, and also a steel package. And then we would start that construction in March 1st of next year and begin the project in earnest at that point. But in order to proceed really with the bid process on January the 18th, we would recommend that funding be approved by that time, and that we're able to, build the confidence of really all the people that will be bidding on it, that the project is funded, and they can have assurances that we're going to proceed forward with that. And then moving on, we'd start construction. We'll finalize construction documents, the total package, about in June of 16, and then we'll have the final package under contract in midsummer of 16. and then have substantial completion April 2018, and then have the full building operation in June 1 of 2018. So that's the key date. So if you move to the next screen, you can see the overview of the budget in front of you, and our estimate at this point of DDP is $63,726,839. And that does have a 6% contingency in it. So we have, as you see there, 1% for escalation, 2% for design, and 3% for construction. And the reason for that is really still protecting the day that we bid the project, and that we were able to get it under contract, and we have some flexibility at that point in time as far as our financing. But if we maintain our discipline and we keep right on the budget number that we're at now, the estimate number, then we want to fund the alternates that you see below there. And we have a set of alternates there at 1.3 million, and also some other additions to the building, the fourth floor completion package, and we would like to include those in there. So if we can really maintain our discipline with our cost estimate and where we are now, then we'll be able to get the alternates as well. But that is still another way of being a bit conservative and also protecting the project so that we can make sure that we can proceed once we put the guaranteed maximum price together next summer. So with that, we'll move to the next screen, and this is just to give you a real quick look at where we are. The $5 million was funded to move forward with the project and to pay for all the expenses through the construction documents phase. This gives you an accounting of all that cost today, and we are really $300,000 to the good with that $5 million at this time. So the $5 million plus the $68 million will equal the $73 million for the total project for the building and the garage. With that, Mr. Chairman, we'll take just a minute, and I'm going to ask John Thayer with Bell Construction to talk a little bit about how we put the estimate together.
As Jerry mentioned, we recently put together the design development budget. We took a couple of steps to build a lot of confidence into this budget. We feel like this is the right number moving forward. But first thing we did is the pricing that we used to put together this budget was not historically driven. We reached out into the market, got input from subcontractors, multiple subcontractors for each trade. They have a better idea of what things are costing right now. Middle Tennessee's construction market is dynamic, as I'm sure everybody's noticed. A lot going on in Nashville, a lot going on in Rutherford County. So the market is where these costs need to come from, not from historical databases that we have. We do, however, use our estimating staff to do a complete takeoff of the entire building, so we know how many doors, how many square feet of paint, all those numbers, so that when we receive those budgets from the subcontractors, we can make sure that they're all looking at the same thing and giving accurate budgets. The third thing we did, we had a lot of meetings with Gresham Smith, the architect, and we brought in some key subcontractors to be part of those meetings. So we had a good, clear understanding of what their intention was with their design documents, and our price could reflect that. As I said, the market right now is dynamic. We are seeing costs increase across the country, but in particular in this area, that's why we're carrying that contingency that we feel is appropriate at this stage, so that we can protect the guaranteed maximum price coming this spring.
All right, now I'd like to ask Steve just to talk about the quality of the estimate and the quality of the things that we have in the building.
Thanks, Jerry. One of the very first things we did at the beginning of the year was assemble all the stakeholders, the mayor's office, the PBA representatives, the judges, the sheriff's office, the clerk, the DA, the district attorney, all the stakeholders in this building. And we put together a set of guiding principles of that this building had to do to be successful, and the top three things were something that we were not going to vary from. And the very first thing is safety of the public. Second thing was long-term efficiency and durability of the building, so it was a good, efficient building to operate. And the third thing was that it had all of the program requirements that were written by Justice Planning Associates at the beginning. And as we went through the development of the design and the two detailed estimates we've been through, in both of those benchmarks, we had to evaluate cost and make some decisions. We kept going back to those guiding principles and stuck to those very strictly, so that the building was a safe building, was easy and long-term to operate, and had everything that the county needed. So it's passed that test twice. And like John said, we have had a lot of collaboration with a lot of people. It's been a very public process, a lot of public meetings, a lot of people involved in it, and then a lot of involvement with quality subcontractors who understand this kind of building, where there was a real give and take conversation about what is the best equipment to use, what are the best systems, so that our design, while we are still drawing, it's had a lot of involvement by the community of contractors who will build this building. So I feel very good that it has met the needs of the county, and it's within this budget. We've been very serious about this very important project that we are, frankly, it's an honor and a privilege for us to work on, and we've taken that very serious, and I feel very good about the building that we're trying to deliver for the citizens of the county. So that's an overview of how we've gotten to where we are right now.
One thing that I'd like to point out is on the screen that you have there, the $5 million. You can look up at the project budget and see what I call the below the line items of furniture and fixtures and equipment, and we still have about $1,347,000 for equipping the building. But I'd like to point out again, we have another contingency there. That's an owner's contingency of $1.3 million as well. So that will help us to protect the things below the line, that we certainly have enough money in there to provide the right equipment and fixtures that the building will need, and other costs that we will certainly run into as we open up the building. So the next screen that you have is a cash flow, and that just gives you a quick look at how the dollars would be spent and when they would be spent, the timing of them. It would be, again, a 24-month project, really starting next spring and going to 2018. And so that's the sort of the cash draws that would take place and payments as they would be made. So with that, we'll stop and see if there are any questions.
Any questions of the representative? Thank you very much. There's a lot of good information there.
I had several about how you spent that $5 million, but you did a good job explaining it. I appreciate it, so y'all won't have to hear me go up and down about that. I just got a question for the chairman, sitting up here. How your committee, I noticed you all voted in favor of this. How many times have y'all met with these guys prior to that?
No, we've met several times. I can't tell you precisely how many. I can go back through and look it up, but basically our communication was through the mayor's office. And also, I was a representative on the design committee. I attended all the meetings, and I brought the information back to the committee when they weren't here. And then when we got to our final design, and we had the representatives at our committee, so if they had any questions, besides what I had brought back to them, they could ask them directly. It's been a big open communication between PBA and all the people involved, and it's been the communication through the mayor's office more so than anything, because they work on a daily basis, and mayor's up there on a daily basis, so the information flows freely through his office. So everyone on the committee was pleased with the communication. And Commissioner Bond is here, and the others. We didn't have any complaints, passed unanimously through our committee, except one commissioner wasn't present that night, and he's sitting next to you right there. So, but besides that, our committee was very pleased with the way it went. It was a long-term project now. It wasn't an overnight deal. I think this project was, we worked on it for a year and a half. That's including a meeting and a tour of the Birch Building in Nashville, which will be similar to our judicial building here. And the architectural group is very qualified, and that's what they do. So we're very pleased with Ray.
Well, that means a lot to me, because I know you've watched a lot of projects come and go, and I've seen quite a few over the years too, and usually the main concerns that I have are after the project's over, and then we start having problems.
Yeah, sure.
And that's really the only question I've got for you is, you know, we just had a building we had to spend some money on a few minutes ago, digging up concrete and putting in a water line. You know, the warranties on a building like this, I know they're diverse, you know, where it's an air conditioning unit or, you know, a structural leak, something like that. Can any of you elaborate on what kind of safeguards we've got for long-term?
Yeah, the standard kind of in the industry, builder's warranty is 1 year, but then there are manufacturer's warranties that stretch beyond that. Roofing warranty typically stretches 15, 20 years.
20 years.
You know, we do some things internally to manage quality. We have a full-time quality control inspector who's a Bell employee who answers, our president's here, he answers to the president, and that's it. He'll make monthly visits on site. He'll be part of our pre-construction meetings. We have pre-construction meetings with every subcontractor before they start construction to talk about their work. The designer generally is part of that, talk about their work, quality management, inspection processes. So yeah, there's some things that we do internally to help manage that process.
One thing, John, that you or Steve one mentioned to the property management, when you guys have been going through all of this pricing, and particularly in the mechanical area, how you chose not to value engineer some of these primary major control systems. You might want to dwell on.
Yeah,
speak to that a little
we
bit.
spent a lot of time designing, studying multiple kinds of basic mechanical systems for the building, both in their performance and their long life. And in every case, we have made cost adjustments somewhere else that were not related to safety or the long life of those equipment. So it's a 20 to 30 year life of most of the systems, which is about what you can get, about the maximum you can expect out of mechanical systems. And so it's very high quality systems, and that a lot of attention was paid to systems that were easy to operate and have a long life to them. And a part of the continuing effort, there is a line item here called a commissioning agent. The PBA is hiring a separate third-party commissioning agent, which shakes out all the systems at the end of construction to make sure they are installed and running per the design specs. And we've also had conversations about making sure the staff who is going to run this building is involved in the closeout, and they're fully vested and trained, and that's a part of what commissioning will do, train the folks how to operate this building. It is a complicated building with many different kinds of systems, and it does require a great care and attention to detail to try and make sure everything's operating properly and somebody knows how to keep it running. And the construction is watched during construction to make sure we catch anything that needs to be corrected before it's finished.
Well, I've just got two other questions, so y'all know I'll be getting through here pretty quick. Geothermal, did y'all look into that, or have you been able to utilize it?
We did. It was not a good payback. It was nowhere near a quality payback, and the field was going to have to be so enormously big in an urban setting that it was not feasible. We did look at geothermal, yes.
Okay, then the last question I've got is, we hear a lot of talk nowadays about green buildings. Can you elaborate about any of the facets of this building that would be green?
Well, I can start. It is not going to be designed to lead standard or green Globe or Energy Star. There's a number of ways you certify a building these days. But we essentially followed the LEED protocol on how you design a building, and it is designed with an envelope that is very high performance so that the operating cost is low, and is designed with mechanical systems with a high degree of control so that they can be fine-tuned to operate efficiently. Those are two of the major components of green design, so that it's very energy efficient. And so it incorporates both of those. And if we were to go for certification, I am certain this building would achieve basic certification and probably be a silver building if we went through all the paperwork to get it LEED certified. We have landscaping that is permeable, that allows rainwater to penetrate the site and be, and control stormwater. So there's a long list of items that the designer uses for LEED, and we used that list even though it is not a LEED certified building.
Yeah, I would just expand on that. Most of those LEED requirements have permeated the industry now, and are pretty much standard design and construction practices.
That's very much true.
There are some things we have to do as we build the building that are part of the LEED certification, and they pretty much are standard in the industry now that are done on any project, whether it's LEED certified or not.
But I know a little bit about that, and to get LEED certified does get pretty pricey though.
It's
Just
several
to
hundred
document
thousand
everything from where
dollars
material
in
comes from to different things.
documentation. Yeah, it's
Mr. McAdoo, you had your hand up a minute ago. I don't want to get too far away from when you did.
Well, basically, he touched on it. Question Commissioner Peets asked him about the warranty and whatnot. We discussed that in our committee, and we did ask the same questions that you asked Commissioner Peets, and they presented the detailed information showing that that was taken into consideration, the warranty on all our mechanical equipment and stuff, because we were interested in not going the cheapest route, per se. That's the way it was brought up in our committee. And they assured us that they were looking at the long time warranty of the high quality mechanical equipment. And we were very pleased with that.
Thank you.
Sorry to cut you off.
That's okay.
Any further questions?
I have a couple questions. Because in our world, terrorism is becoming more and more prevalent, it seems like. Are there any precautions that you've taken security-wise in light of that?
Well, it is a very secure building. There are essentially only two ways to get in the building. There is the taller building that houses the clerks and the court, and there's a smaller building in front. It's one big building, but there's a smaller piece in front that you go through a very secure, rigorous security protocol of how you actually get in the building. And then the other way is through the basement, through a series of doors into the sheriff's controlled area. So it only has two doors, which are very clearly controlled. Then the building is set back from the street in all areas except for the north side. And that's where sheriff's parking will be along the edge of the building, so that there's a series of steps in the grading that makes it very difficult to drive something into the building, which is another way to control security. And then beyond that, the windows are raised up above grade at the ground level, so that first floor is 4 or 5 feet above grade, so that you're not directly looking into that first floor area. So it's things like that compared to the Judicial Center now, which has many different ways to get in it and a much more circuitous route. It is a state-of-the-art building for security. There's 3 circulation paths in the building. The public can only come in and go a certain security route. Then the prisoners and inmates come in below to the holding cells, and they can only circulate the building through a dedicated set of elevators. And then there's a secure corridor that the judges and other staff persons can only access. So that's That, you do not have that now. There are 3 different secure circulation systems in the building that provides another whole level of security in the daily operation of the building.
And then how comprehensive is the fixture list? Like, I mean, I'm sure that's gonna include, you know, the, benches for, and, you know, desks, that does include computers. I mean, is it, how far does the fixture go?
I can start and Jerry can finish that answer. We have developed budgets for what's called FF&E, furniture, fixtures, and equipment, which is what you're referring to. And there is one budget for IT and audiovisual equipment, which is very important in a courthouse. We have a budget model that's been developed. There are some elements included in this cost, and then there's some other elements in what Jerry referred to below the line. So there's some in his construction budget, and there's some below the line, the owner responsibility. And then there's a furniture budget for the desks and cubicles and all that kind of equipment for the building. So there's 2 budgets and 2 sets of equipment that we have developed, and the user groups have had input into that, and that's a continuing, evolving effort to refine that budget and what equipment will be put into the building day one, what equipment will be moved from somewhere else that you already have, and then what equipment that you may not need today but will need to be bought over the next couple of years as some of the additional space is built out.
So you've planned for all of that in the 73 million except for these alternates that are listed?
That's correct.
Yes.
But we hope to get the alternates as well.
Yeah, that's part of our goal.
Our strategy is to get those, but we've got, right now, that's, like I say, a conservative approach to making sure we can contract, you know, when the building's fully functional, when we open up. The other piece of that, as far as the furniture and fixtures and equipment, the 1.3 million contingency that we have below the line, that's another, you know, that we want to protect as well, so we can make sure that we're fully operational.
And then if we don't get the alternates, what are we starting with? Were we going 2 finished floors? Because it looks like there's...
We actually have, there is an expansion floor in the building. We have a 4th floor that is totally shelled, and that would be 4 more courtrooms. That's projected to be probably out maybe 15 years, and that's what that item that is the 4th floor package, that when the 4th floor package comes on, that these other items would be needed at that time. But saying that, if the money's available now, it would be better for us to go ahead and do those now, cost-wise, and be done with that. But it could be a part of the 4th floor expansion. Again, what we open up with is the building is set up with 12 courtrooms is to start with, and then we have 4 to build out later on. But in the alternates, we also have 2 courtrooms that will not be. They'll be shelled to begin with if we had to go that route. So we would open up with 10 courtrooms and 11 chambers. So that would accommodate what we have now. But our strategy really is to try to open up with the full 12 courtrooms.
And then what about the parking garage? What are we starting with on that? Because it looks like there's some expansion on it as well.
That's correct. There's the ability to put 2 more floors on it. And in a way, that basically doubles it. Is what it does in some form, but we're opening up with 359 spaces plus or minus, and so we'd have 1 elevator to start with, and then if we put the 2 additional floors on, we'd add the other elevator. But it has that capability. But we're building the structure now and the foundations and so forth that can be added on.
I know there's been some discussion, just I've heard people talk about whether we would charge for parking or wouldn't. Have you planned for, if there should be a ticketing agent or something, have you planned for that in the design?
Yes, the answer to that is yes. But what you'd have is a metering station or a ticket station, and you'd have a numbered slot, you know, just like you would do in any particular garage. Go get the ticket, you know, put the money and lay it in on your windshield. And we would have those, you know, at every elevator landing is what we'd have, and that'd be a future possibility.
It's designed to install gates if the decision is made that it'll be a paying garage.
That's all I have.
Anybody else?
I just have one remaining question. I'm going to build on what Commissioner Peace said earlier. We don't want to have an obvious problem that we don't address ahead of time, and then we get the building built and then discover something that the public comments on and wonders why we didn't address. I have a couple of constituents who are attorneys who went to the mock courtroom session and said at that time that either the defense or the plaintiff's bench couldn't see the witness. And we talked about this last week. I just was wondering, have you been able to obtain verification that both benches can see the witness in these courtrooms?
Yes, I went back and looked at, it was furniture placement.
Right.
We built a full mock-up of the courtroom. And the furniture, it's a big working area in front of the judge's bench and the jury box. And we went back and I verified that there's plenty of room to move the lectern about where you speak from and the tables, the sets of tables. And to design the lectern can be different, and all of that is movable so that the sight lines can be adjusted and changed actually to different courtroom configurations depending on what kind of judicial, event is taking place.
Sounds like the only way the view would be blocked is if somebody takes this mobile lectern and literally puts it in front of the bench.
That's very well said, and that is possible to put it exactly in alignment, and it's possible to move it also. Yes.
Well, for me, we've got a lot of very capable people on our property management committee, on our PBA, and everybody else that's worked on this project. And I have a lot of faith in the people, and got a lot of good questions here tonight. And what is your wishes at this time, Mr. Mayor? Do we?
I mean, unless you have some more questions for them, I think we can use them and
Discuss funding.
we can discuss this funding, or we'd be happy for you to just make a motion and a second and approve it.
Well, we've got two resolutions tonight for you, and one specifically is authorizing the project.
There's one resolution here, page 6, on
There's-
number 12. There's another one that's item number 13.
Yes, and this one, 6 of 6, is a very short one, which just sums up that makes mention of the first $5 million, and that the total project estimate is at $73 million, and so resolving that, yes, you're approving the project to be allocated from a future bond issue.
If there are no further questions, these gentlemen, I'll let them feel free to.
They may want to see how the
They
outcome
may-
of this
they
is.
have a slight interest in it, so let's move forward real fast.
Yeah. This isn't a surprise for anybody. We've been talking about this for decades now, actually.
20 years.
Yeah. So, we'll entertain a motion or further discussion, whatever the will of the committee is.
Like Commissioner McAdoo, it's been a long time coming, but, none of us like to spend money, but there's times, if any of you have been down to that judicial building right now and trying to get down through those hallways, and if you've encountered any of the prisoners that you may be going to court to face or standing side by side, you'd see the need for this. But having said that, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve this first resolution.
Thank you, Commissioner P. Second, Commissioner Jernigan. I will echo Commissioner P's comments. I try not to be a regular visitor to the judicial building, but when I have been over there in a few isolated instances, everybody's right there in those tiny hallways. You talk about circulation patterns. We've got a judge there with the deputies wrestling, an inmate, and the attorneys, and the witnesses are all right there in a 10-foot wide or 12-foot wide hallway, and it's an accident waiting to happen, is what it is. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
Commissioner Baum?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yes.
Commissioner Kaplan?
Yes.
Commissioner Pete?
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan?
Yes. Motion passes. Now, Ms. Donald, we need to go to item 13 and
Yes. So this one,
do the same thing again.
but this one I want to talk about. This is the one that you're authorizing borrowing money. When you just did was authorize project, we'll pay for it later. This is the later. This is, as I said, the initial resolution authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $68.9 million. The extra 0.9 is for just the cost of borrowing.
Cost of issuance, yeah.
yes,
Will we
cost
do
of
this in
issuance.
one bond or over 2 years? Or is that wait?
That's a wait and see, we'll.
Depends
I
on
mean,
how
that's-
the market reacts and
Mhm.
things like that.
Right.
But I want you to see what is in this first part. Now, what happens on this initial resolution, as you see at the very bottom, is that it will be published, and then the public has 20 days to respond. So, you know, they can protest with at least 10% of the registered voters. So that's what this 20-day period, that's what I would like to go ahead and get that out.
We do it on every bond
do it on
issuance
every
every
one.
night.
But also, in this first paragraph is everything that this money can be used for. That when we borrow the money, he said it can be used for these projects. If we do not list the projects, we can't use the money. So my thought was, when you see things in here listed, is if there is money left at the end of the project, instead of moving it back to debt service, you may have another need to spend that money. So those items, the first part is design, site development, construction equipment, county justice center, renovation, repair, equipment of county buildings. I skipped the parking garage. So the garage, the justice center, the third one was county buildings, renovation, repair, equipment of county buildings. The next one, as you go down there, you'll see these are things that we've kind of talked about. Y'all have not authorized it, other than the project you just did was the parking garage and the judicial center. Okay, we've talked about a solid waste facility. You've already approved purchasing land, but at some point there might be building. You've talked about the maintenance facility along with the solid waste. I've got that included. Always put in these things, if you always remember these things, we always put in improving streets, roads, and bridges, in case we have a need for that.
Of course, any
And
change
then-
would come back to the commission for us to approve anyway, so
Oh,
this
yes,
is
yes.
just legally covering.
Well, this is just, if there's money left over at the end of the project, can we spend this bond money for these purposes? And so that's what this is covering. And then, lastly, any legal, fiscal, administrative, architectural, engineering to any foregoing projects, acquisition of property, a reimbursement of appropriate funds for prior expenditures. Now, what that is saying is that if we borrow from ourselves, that later we can pay ourselves back with it. That's what this is covering.
Is there a reason you don't list schools?
Yes, because particularly this one, okay,
Is the sharing?
well, it's not that. This is, when we borrow under Title IX, we typically don't, when we do a project for this, if we were gonna do schools, yes. If
I'm just-
schools was a part of this, I would say yes, and then I would say, but we would kinda need to know on the front end if it was elementary or middle, that
But
you
yeah, the
pointed
only-
at the
the only-
sharing issue.
The only reason I ask is because that's such a big part of our budget, and if there's a need, there's a high likelihood that's where the need would be. And so that's the only reason I ask why.
Okay, and just a little point, when typically we're doing county and school facilities at the same time. If it's a county, we do have to give the public a 20 days notice. If it's a school, you don't have to.
Okay. Just curious.
So anyway,
We voted to spend the money a few minutes ago, now we gotta figure, vote on this, make a motion hopefully to actually get the money. So, we'll entertain a motion.
now you'll see this again. You'll see this one, and then there'll be a final resolution after the 20 days.
The immediate question that comes to mind, of course, is the impact on taxes. And I just don't want to not have that conversation, for the public. So talk to us about that a little bit.
At last meeting, we kind of went over all the different scenarios. If this was the only thing that we were talking about, and the schools did not have a projects looming, you'd probably be fine. But what we were trying to get across is the school, you can't just be one-sided or just
Okay.
blinders on and say, that's all we're gonna do, because that's, to me, it's not the reality.
Right.
The schools are coming. So we did discuss last month about those potentials, and we pulled it out for the next, what we go, 5 additional years on
5
top
years.
of theirs, and you know, we came up with potentially 5 to 8 cents.
And revenues are coming in a bit better than we had in those projections with respect to development tax especially, so I think we're gonna be able to manage that, but if all of this comes forward and you approve everything the school board has on the table potentially, it's likely gonna take 3 to 5 pennies.
We'll entertain a motion if there's no further questions.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Kaplan.
I'll second. I didn't want to steal anybody's thunder who wanted to do it. But
Oh,
I'll
but then it's
second.
going I think you're fine with us stealing your thunder.
Well, you know, Commissioner P, this has been a long time coming, and you know.
I did one.
Thank you, Commissioner Allen. No further discussion, we'll call the roll.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
Commissioner Baum?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yeah.
Commissioner Kaplan?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan?
Yes. Motion passes. $68 million there, every minute. I want to apologize to Mr. Sandig. I
He would've been here
accidentally
anyway.
skipped him
He's
when I
not
was,
late.
but he wouldn't have left anyway,
He couldn't even get out, he's in the back.
so we'll back up and pick up, if it's okay with everybody else, the general purpose school fund budget amendment in case he wants to leave, although I feel sure he won't, but. Mr. Sandig, welcome.
I figured you just were planning on me staying anyway.
You always stay anyway.
Yeah, I do.
You wasn't gonna leave early.
No, This is a cleanup amendment for our classified, our hourly staff. It's fixing $36,905 in already budgeted pay for these classified hourly staff, and the related $5,635 in related benefits. The changes reflect the staff we now have in place. There are a couple of vacation payouts, items like that in there. And this is like about 0.15% of that part of the budget. It's really, minor change. Even though on some of the line items, if you've only got 1 or 2 people, it can be a number for that line item. And our recommended motion is to amend the 2015-16 general purpose school budget by $42,540 in classified staff and benefits as presented.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Allen.
Sure.
Commissioner Jernigan. Any further questions? Call the roll.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
Commissioner Baum?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yes.
Commissioner Kaplan?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan?
Yes. We'll move back up to item.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sandvik. Doubt you'll get far. We'll move to item number 5, increase cash on hand for building codes.
This is in response to an audit point where, to make sure that each person who is dealing with cash has their own cash drawer, and there's a need to increase their cash on hand from $50 to $150.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner P.
So.
Commissioner Jernigan. Call the roll.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
Commissioner Baum?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yeah.
Commissioner Kaplan?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan?
Yes. Item number 6, financial assurance in lieu of bond documents for the landfill.
This is a yearly amendment to the contract. We do this at this time every year, and this changes our liability from $2,948,394 to $2,784,855.
That rate will be off the hook in about 50 years.
15 more years, maybe.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Allen, second by Commissioner Jernigan. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
Commissioner Baum?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yeah.
Commissioner Kaplan? Yes. Commissioner P?
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan?
Yes. General fund budget amendment for human resources.
The HR department has received $1,000 contribution from Ascend Federal Credit Union for their employee programs. And so this is recognizing that contribution and appropriating it for other charges.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Kaplan.
Second.
Commissioner P. Call the roll.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
Commissioner Baum?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yes.
Commissioner Kaplan?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan?
Yes. Contract with Tennessee Department of Health for Health Department.
This is the part of the budget that is county funded. This, again, is another yearly agreement that we approve. And it is for the current fiscal year. It really doesn't change anything bottom line. There will be amendment later coming in on her ability to use some money that we typically send to the state. And that they use in their programs. So, anyway, it is that part of their budget that we talk about that's county funded. You know, there's two, one state funded, one county, and that's what this is telling the Department of Health this is what the county is going to contribute for health.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Allen. Commissioner Jernigan. Call the roll.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
Commissioner Baum?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yes.
Commissioner Kaplan?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan?
Yes. That takes us down to presentation of 16-17 budget calendar and schedule. We went a lot of order. I don't think we missed anything out there.
All right, you're
All my
right.
sheets are coming from yours.
And hopefully everybody got a chance to look at the email that went out. Ms. Owen?
The end of the story. Target adopting the budget on Monday, June 27th, 2016, 9 a.m. With all the various and sundry meetings in between. Starting in January when we distribute all the information to the departments, pretty much having them back to us in March. Between February and March, we'll be meeting with the mayor. Our target to present the consolidated budget to you is on May 5th. Public hearing is, let's see, when is that date?
14th.
June 14th, on a Tuesday.
This is the majority, or hopefully all the meetings, maybe even more than we may combine some, but is there anybody on this committee that has any major problems? In the past, we've tried our best to work around everybody's schedule, but
Pretty much the same schedule as last year, just different, 2 days difference in the calendar based on one year to the next.
do we need a motion on this? It's just a presentation.
No, this is the, this will be the budget calendar,
Alright.
and this is what we will take to the full commission and our guidelines for the.
If everybody's okay with this, then we'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Jernigan.
Second.
Commissioner Baum.
There's just one note I want to make. Looks like we have planning commission at 9 a.m. on the 27th.
I got a feeling the planning commission making a good change.
Yeah, that's what I think too, but I just wanted to make sure you knew.
I noticed that, yeah, the
Okay.
Monday, June 27th is a 9 o'clock planning commission meeting, and there's 4 commissioners on
Yeah.
planning. But I've got a feeling
We can
it's
reschedule.
more important to set the tax rate to have that
Yes.
meeting, and we can adjust that meeting, I would hope.
I think we will.
You know, but,
That'd be good if y'all could.
yeah, we'll work on that. Being that pays all the staff over there on that budget, I think they'll be more than happy to help us move that meeting.
Pretty flexible.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Other business, anything?
I have none.
Mr. Mayor, do you have anything?
Thank you for working with us and helping get this project to continue to move and complete it. Thank you very much.
I'd like to thank the gentleman here that gave us a presentation. We learned a lot tonight, and those people won't see you again, we'll say Merry Christmas, and we are adjourned.